Just 1 minute ago, Marty Meierotto's daughter broke her long silence and finally decided to share the shocking truths about the family's hidden pain. She had reached her breaking point and could no longer carry the burden alone. Now the young Meierotto has stepped forward to confirm every single rumor that has swirled around her family for years. What exactly did she reveal to the world? Let's find out together. As we move forward with this video, please take a second to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Now let's dive in. It all began with the persistent rumors surrounding Marty Meierotto. Before he stepped away from the spotlight, Marty always tried his best to hint at the strange and frightening things he had witnessed deep in the wilderness, but he never fully explained them. There were whispers that he had encountered terrifying experiences he chose to keep private. Recently, his beloved daughter came forward and confirmed that everything her father had quietly suggested was, in fact, true. Let's explore exactly what Marty had been trying to tell the world about what really happens out there. For many years Marty Meierotto remained the quiet, almost forgotten legend of Alaska's vast wilderness. While other cast members easily grabbed the spotlight and became household names, Marty deliberately stayed out of the limelight to the point that many viewers almost forgot he was even part of the show. Yet behind the scenes he was quietly building an enormous reputation as a master trapper and survivalist. Eventually he earned widespread respect and became one of the most admired figures on Mountain Men. Everything seemed to be going perfectly for him, until he suddenly vanished from the series without warning. You may not have realized it at first, but at one point Marty completely disappeared from Mountain Men. He walked away and for a long time no one knew where he had gone or why, until he eventually returned. His daughter Noah Meierotto later confirmed this chapter of his life. According to her, that period was one of complete silence. No one had any idea what was happening with him, but something profound and disturbing had clearly taken place. When Marty finally came back, he shared shocking details about what really happened during his absence, and the real reasons he chose to step away from public life entirely. He had secretly recorded a message explaining everything that occurred off camera, and little did anyone realize it would become his final communication to the world and to the show. That message didn't just surprise people, it deeply unsettled investigators, former crew members, and longtime viewers alike. His words planted real fear and uncertainty in the hearts of many who heard them. Marty's warning was unmistakable: the mountains are not the beautiful, adventurous paradise most people imagine. They are a place that changes men completely. According to Marty, the wilderness claims people quickly, and most are completely unaware of how it happens. People believe everything out there is wonderful and perfect. But in reality, it erodes men slowly, piece by piece, until something in their eyes changes forever and never returns to the way it was. As Marty spoke about this, it became obvious to everyone that something traumatic had happened to him. Many people who were close to him on the show later confirmed they had noticed a dramatic shift in him over those final months. He didn't look tired, he looked restless, constantly on edge, as though he was always waiting and watching for something to emerge from the mountains at any moment. He was no longer calm. He had seen something. He had heard something. Whatever it was had affected him so deeply that his journal entries became increasingly frantic and fragmented. They were filled with repeated phrases like listening and waiting. Nothing felt right anymore, and he wasn't talking about animals or weather. He was talking about the land itself. Who knows exactly what he witnessed? Only Marty himself. His friends and family became even more alarmed when they saw how deeply afraid he had become. He started avoiding certain valleys entirely, saying the wind carried memories there that he could no longer bear. Noah later shared that at one point she watched her father stop setting traps near old hollow trees, something he had always loved doing, but now he refused out of fear. He would often whisper to the flames in his wood stove, "Fire keeps them slow." Whenever anyone asked what "them" meant, he refused to answer. All he would do was close the stove door with trembling hands and eyes full of terror. Marty began living as though he was constantly being followed. His family watched helplessly as he slowly became a shadow of the strong, confident man he once was. Then he did something completely unexpected. For years Marty had carefully kept and treasured his detailed log books, records he cherished deeply. One day he burned every single one of them. Years of notes, years of adventures, years of observations, all reduced to ash. This terrified his loved ones even more. Clearly Marty had survived something truly life-threatening. As he watched the pages burn, he gave one final warning: tracks on paper lead things straight to you. After destroying the journals, he vanished completely. He left everything behind and disappeared. His cabin grew cold. Mail piled up unanswered. His social media went silent. He walked away from his family, and they were left longing for any sign of him. After he was gone, his loved ones searched the cabin hoping to find any message or clue he might have left behind. During the search they discovered something chilling carved directly into the wood: "I heard it call my name. Twice is too many. Don't follow where snow falls uphill." After piecing everything together and answering countless questions, it became clear that Marty's disappearance wasn't driven purely by fear. It was actually a deliberate lesson in how to truly vanish from the world. In his surviving notes he described the wilderness as a place where time folds in on itself, where footsteps echo without a second pair of boots ever being present. For Marty, the silence of the wilderness had layers and depths most people never notice, and it was enough to draw men deeper and deeper until they were lost inside it. And that is exactly what happened to him. The deeper he traveled into the bush, the more strongly he felt that something was listening in return. He wrote about many nights when strange things occurred. Nights when snowflakes drifted sideways even though there was no wind, nights when footsteps followed him across untouched powder, nights when echoes returned exactly the same, as if the woods were perfectly imitating his voice. Gradually Marty began noticing strange symbols carved into trees, perfect triangles, punctured holes, marks that seemed to deliberately point downhill into valleys he refused to name. On one occasion he pressed his ear to a fresh puncture in the bark and felt the wood vibrate. That day, he said, it felt like there was a breath waiting just behind a door. This and many other unsettling experiences continued, and no one else was aware of how deeply they were affecting him. He also wrote about finding perfect circles of trees with paired punctures and moss shaped like unnaturally elongated footprints. As he kept going, missing snares and bait strips would be smoothed over so perfectly it looked as though nothing had ever been there. To Marty it felt like something was watching exactly how far he would follow their thefts. His chalk markings on missing traps began disappearing one by one, erased by an unseen hand. He described snow showing depressions too wide for boots and too soft for hooves, circling around his sleeping tarp in perfect countdown patterns. On several occasions he experimented with tally rocks, only to find them removed in precise order. Once he even woke to find a cold stone deliberately placed on his chest while he slept. As Marty continued deeper, he kept making more disturbing discoveries. He described finding a mysterious clearing containing a perfect circle of ancient iron traps arranged like seats, each one facing the center as though waiting for judgment. Strange events kept happening until one night he heard traps snapping shut in perfect sequence. When he returned he found fresh notches carved into the seats. He whispered to himself, "It's not a trap for animals. It's a witness stand." In one of his interviews Marty gave a chilling warning: "We are not the top of the food chain out there. We are the crop." While speaking he discussed many topics, including the intelligence he believed lived in the woods. According to Marty, that intelligence quietly thins the herd, erases tracks, and perfectly mimics human voices. He said, "When mountain men stop fearing the woods come looking." After Marty's disappearance, various search registries showed a noticeable spike in missing hunters, especially solitary and very experienced men. One case even reported perfect circles burned into the snow with no footprints anywhere inside them. Marty was right. The mountain doesn't lose people. It calls them in, and in the end, the mountain finally called Marty Meierotto in. However, before Marty vanished completely, rumors about his departure from the show had already started spreading. Though mountain men looked perfect and inspiring on camera, a great deal was happening behind the scenes, but the cast and crew worked hard to keep most of it hidden from the public. In Season 8, fans received their first real hint that Marty was seriously considering leaving the series. They were stunned when the news broke. Little did they know the wilderness had already begun calling to their favorite star. For 8 full seasons, viewers had watched Marty live and survive deep in the Alaskan bush. They saw the skilled survivalist venture far out into the wilderness, enduring sub-zero winters while living alone in a simple one-room cabin. Although many overlooked Marty at first, over time he became one of the most loved and respected cast members. During the short daylight hours he would set his trap line, catching everything from lynx to mink to marten. What shocked everyone about Marty's departure was that he never showed any obvious signs of wanting to leave at the beginning. He had seemed as committed to the series as any of the other men who shared their outdoor lives with viewers. In an earlier season of Mountain Men he had famously said, "This is my church. This is where I feel most like me." That was Marty's personal motto, right up until the moment he decided to walk away from the show forever. What do you think could have happened to change his mind so completely? Later it was revealed that Marty's decision to leave may have been heavily influenced by Tom Moore's choice to retire. Tom Moore was the very first original cast member to leave the series during that period. Before Marty ever announced his own plans, Tom had publicly shared that he was retiring and moving from Montana to Florida with his wife. Could Tom Moore's exit have affected Marty so deeply? Let's hear it directly from Tom himself. Tom Moore, the legendary figure on the show, stunned everyone when he decided to walk away. People respected Tom enormously, so his decision felt completely unexpected, but he had his own very personal reasons. For the 81-year-old icon, that season could mark the moment he finally had to decide whether to keep going or hand off the torch. As the official show description put it, legacies hang in the balance as each mountain man confronts a defining crossroads. When the network released that statement, viewers were shocked. Tom Moore had been part of the reality series since its premiere in 2012. He was an essential piece of the show, and most fans assumed he would stay forever. The series follows people who have traded modern comforts for a completely off-grid life in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Watching Tom Moore and the others live that raw, authentic existence made viewers fall in love with them even more. But all of that was about to change when Tom hinted at his retirement by saying, "It's hard to quit anything that you really like to do." Although he never shared the exact personal reason for leaving, his departure opened the door for a new generation of survivalists who would make their debut that season. The official press release announced, newcomers Chance and Soraya Painter, both just 28 and raising 2 young kids, begin carving out a homestead in remote Alaskan bush country. As they face unpredictable terrain and daily survival, seasoned legends like Marty Meierotto and Mike Horstman continue their tireless fight against the elements, refusing to let go of the rugged independence they've spent a lifetime building. According to the release, the season premiere would show Marty guiding his daughter Noah through her first bush plane landing at a remote caribou camp. It would also follow Mike hauling a 50-foot gangway across land and sea to his Kodiak homestead, Brett Bone and Ivy O'Gwyn fending off a hungry brown bear raiding their salmon nets. Lauro and Neil using an age-old technique to hunt moose by boat on an isolated river, and Chance and Soraya insulating their log cabin with sod and moss from the surrounding forest. Trouble really began when quiet rumors started spreading that Marty Meierotto's decision to leave was somehow connected to Tom Orr's exit. Some claim that once Tom stepped away, Marty suddenly felt exposed, like an underground dog who could now be forced into the front row because his protector was no longer there. With all these changes swirling around him, Marty soon began having serious issues with the show itself, though he tried hard not to make it obvious. As the rumors grew louder, Marty grew more and more uncomfortable. Not long after Tom Orr's departure was announced, Marty made his own announcement that he was leaving too. On the show he explained that he no longer wanted cameras following him into the bush. He was tired of the fame and wanted private moments with his 13-year-old daughter Noah, who would be helping him run the trap line that winter. "I thought a lot about it, and that's the decision I made," he shared. "It's going to be the best for her and family time and all that." Marty continued, "I've been doing this my whole life, and for the past 8 years, I've had a camera on me all the time. I'm glad we got to tell a story, and I hope it's helped people understand what it's really like out here." He added, "At the end of the day, I'm just a trapper. If you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about how much money you made or some job you had. You're going to be thinking about what you've done with your life." All these thoughts and feelings eventually pushed Marty to walk away from the show completely. What he never expected was how deeply people would mourn his departure. According to many reports, Marty didn't just leave a mark on the show, he touched countless lives far beyond the cameras. One journalist who joined Marty on his trap line to document a story never forgot how dangerous the work really was. During the recording, the two of them got separated, all because field and stream writer Bill Heavey lost control of his snow machine. Reflecting on the experience, Bill later shared, "I've been riding for 4 hours now. As a novice, I had no idea how physically demanding it is in this kind of country. You ride standing up, the better to react to hidden bumps and holes." He got lost in the vast white expanse. But he managed to build a fire, and that fire is what ultimately allowed Marty to locate him. The experience convinced Bill that not just anyone can survive, let alone thrive, in the Alaskan wilderness. He realized how truly dangerous it really is out there. Additionally, during that same trip, Marty's wife Dominique played a crucial role in Bill's survival. Before they even left, she told the reporter, "Never leave the cabin without a lighter and some paper in your pocket. You got that?" Her simple but life-saving advice helped Bill stay alive until Marty found him. Many others have shared similar stories of how Marty quietly helped and supported people who crossed his path. He was the kind of man who quietly lifted everyone around him. His daughter Noah later revealed that despite Marty's tendency to withdraw, everyone who really knew him understood he had a soft, sweet side beneath his tough exterior. But life had other plans for him. Not only did Marty suffer greatly, other cast members on Mountain Men also carried deep scars of their own. Let's look at some of the most painful ones. Preston Roberts was one of Marty Meierotto's closest friends. They shared many adventures and countless joyful moments together. But tragedy struck when Preston passed away. His death devastated everyone, especially Eustace Conway and Marty, who had been extremely close to him. After Preston's passing, Eustace posted a heartbreaking message on his Facebook page, "Due to complications from an inoperable liver tumor, Preston Roberts has died." No one had known Preston was even battling illness. He always looked lively and strong on camera, smiled constantly, but he was quietly in terrible pain. Eustace was shattered. Preston wasn't just a friend, he had been Eustace's right-hand man for many years. Together they had built Turtle Island Preserve, a 1,000-acre primitive living site and educational camp that had operated for about 30 years. the friendship between Preston, Eustace, and Marty ran deep. The pain of losing him was almost unbearable for both men. In his post, Eustace wrote, "Please be sensitive to that fact while we all work through this painful transition." In the wake of this unexpected tragedy, hundreds of bereaved among his Turtle Island family will gather soon to celebrate the legacy of a life lost too soon. The loss and sadness we feel are indescribable. Losing such a close friend and colleague forced Marty to confront the reality that life is short and fragile, that everyone has only a limited time on Earth. Preston's death strengthened Marty's growing resolve to leave the public eye entirely. While he was still wrestling with that decision, Eustace found himself in serious legal trouble and had to fight the authorities. Let's see how that unfolded. It happened one afternoon. While Eustace Conway was relaxing at home, sheriff's deputies arrived and arrested him. No one saw it coming that he was taken into custody after being served a warrant for second-degree trespassing on a neighbor's land in Watauga County. The news shocked everyone. Marty was still grieving the loss of Preston when this new blow landed. According to court records, Margaret Palms, who lives at 2473 Little Laurel Road, filed the complaint with the Watauga County Sheriff's Office. What surprised many was that Margaret and Eustace had once been close friends. But over the years their relationship soured for reasons that were never fully explained publicly. After the warrant was issued, Watauga County Sheriff's Deputy S. Morrison served it to Conway, who was then brought before the Watauga County Magistrate. Court documents state that Eustace unlawfully and willfully entered the premises of Palms after being notified not to enter or remain on her property. Margaret made it clear this wasn't Eustace's first trespass. She told the court, "He comes trespassing from time to time and we've asked him not to. He's threatening us. He tied our gates shut so that we couldn't get out, and he put posters all over our gates, mailboxes, and fences. Then he put big wooden barriers so that we couldn't get out. He just kind of went nuts." She explained how Eustace's actions made it nearly impossible for her to drive off her own property. With Turtle Island Preserve surrounding her land, there was only one way in or out, and Eustace had repeatedly blocked it. With his 1,000-acre primitive living site and educational camp, which had recently closed to the public, Eustace found himself in a difficult legal position. As an attorney and real estate agent in Boone, Margaret Palms was not willing to back down. She was determined to protect her property line and her rights. During the hearing she said, "I just want him to stay away from our property." After multiple back-and-forth arguments, many people wanted to hear Eustace's side. But he refused to give any official public statement. He explained that his lawyer had advised him not to comment to the press about the trespassing charge. Eventually the case concluded with the judge instructing Eustace to provide a written promise to appear in court on a specified date. The release document from the courthouse included a clear warning: "Do not threaten or bully Margaret." Do you think Eustace will honor that instruction? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Unfortunately for Eustace, that single case opened the door to even more serious legal trouble. Turtle Island Preserve quickly became the target of a full investigation. It all started with a complaint about illegal building. When officials from the Watauga County Planning and Inspection Department received the report, they acted immediately. They raided Turtle Island and discovered dozens of structures that had been built without any permits. Further inspection revealed numerous other violations of health and safety codes, making Eustace's situation much worse. When the county attorney reviewed the findings, he gave Eustace 3 options. 1. Bring all the buildings up to current minimum state standards. 2. Have a qualified expert certify that they already met code. 3. Obtain proper permits, or tear everything down completely. Eustace was furious and refused to comply. This sparked a full-scale battle, one that pitted an individual against the government. Many claimed the struggle went much deeper than building codes. They believed it was really a war between authentic off-grid living and modern bureaucratic control. Things grew heated. Later, County Planning Director Joe Furman became directly involved. Furman explained that the trouble began in late spring when his office received an anonymous phone call reporting violations at the preserve. A week after that call, they received an unmarked envelope in the mail. Inside was a crudely drawn but highly detailed, color-coded map showing different buildings, road grading, and wiring, all allegedly done without proper permits, engineering, or inspections. Unlike many of his fellow mountain men stars who work high in the Rockies or deep in the Alaskan bush, Eustace stayed relatively close to civilization, and that made his situation even more complicated. Turtle Island Preserve lies near the Tennessee border, just a few miles east of Boone, North Carolina. The county seat of Watauga County has about 17,000 residents, and with that population came close scrutiny. The preserve sat just beyond a gravel road leading into the 1,000-acre site. Spacious, modern homes were visible on wooded lots nearby, some even within sight of the Blue Ridge Parkway. People loved visiting Turtle Island because of its unique, rustic charm. After crossing a small dancing stream, visitors would find an open meadow ringed by a blacksmith shop, an open-air kitchen and dining room, a corn crib, and various other hand-built outbuildings. The name, Turtle Island, itself came from an American Indian creation myth about a great turtle that saved the world's creatures from a cataclysmic flood by carrying them on its shell. In a figurative sense, Conway's website explained, "We are an island of wilderness in a sea of development and destruction." But local officials saw things very differently. Their comments sparked yet another round of conflict. After a thorough inspection, Furman reached out to Eustace, but their conversations went nowhere. Eustace refused to budge and insisted nothing was wrong with any of the buildings. This led Furman and other officials to return, this time with a warrant and sheriff's deputies. During the search of Eustace's property, inspectors documented numerous issues. Beyond the preserve structures, even Eustace's personal home was found to be far below modern standards. It had minimal water and sewer connections. Many buildings were constructed from wood milled directly on site, not the graded, marked lumber required by current building codes. Different solar panels powered equipment in Eustace's tiny office, and a microhydroelectric plant, installed years earlier by students from Appalachian State University's Appropriate Technology program, supplied a small workshop. When inspectors examined the hydro plant, they found wiring and junction boxes that did not meet code. They also noted a wood stove whose chimney was vented beneath, not through, a building's metal roof. Many structures lacked proper stacked stone foundations. A consultant's report concluded that numerous buildings were structurally unsound. The report stated, "The property in its present state presents a hazard to the safety of anyone near any of the structures. I would suggest obtaining a court order to vacate the property to protect the lives of the public and the interns." When Eustace and his supporters read those findings, they fought back hard. They argued that Furman's office was completely missing the point. Eustace asked, "How can I teach primitive living in modern cookie-cutter structures? Human beings have built their own houses for thousands, actually millions, of years. And now we can't even build our own house with our own materials that grow on our own land? That's not some regulation. That's a human rights issue." If he was going to fight the government, he needed solid legal ground. During interviews, Kelly, one of Eustace's longtime supporters, explained that most of the buildings were constructed at the bare minimum standard, but still far above what officials demanded for regular modern houses. "Do they fit modern-day building codes?" Kelly asked. "No, because they are not modern-day structures." When Eustace spoke publicly about the case, he remained convinced there had never been a legitimate complaint in the first place. He believed officials had fabricated the initial report. Why? From the very beginning of the show, he had repeatedly clashed with the planning department. He felt someone had been targeting him for years, and he may well have been right. Back in Season 1, Episode 2, Mayhem, Eustace received a strange letter in his mailbox. When he opened it, he found an official-looking document inside. He slit the envelope with his pocket knife. The contents stunned him. He read aloud from the court document in his hand: "Motion to claim exempt property. This is crazy. This damn attorney is paying the sheriff to serve me. Going to take all my land. Basically, I just got a letter saying, your life is over." The episode narration heavily implied that the government was coming after Turtle Island Preserve. Eustace had always survived by living completely off his land. The narrator intoned ominously, "But he always struggles to pay the tax man." Throughout the rest of that season, Eustace and his team worked tirelessly to pay off the lien. He was determined not to lose his land, especially not to the government. Watching Eustace endure so much pain and fight every single day terrified Marty Meierotto even more, until the day he finally decided to leave everything behind. While Noah was speaking about her father, she made it painfully clear that he had carried far more sorrow than most people ever realized. Though he tried desperately to keep it all hidden, the weight eventually became too much for him to bear until the very end. Do you think Marty Meierotto will ever fully heal from his pain? Do you think he will ever return to the public eye? Will Eustace Conway's long battle with the authorities ever truly end? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you believe.